Howdy, guys. Welcome to night 10 of Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. We're covering all the live feed activities that happened overnight inside the Big Brother house. So come on aboard, man. It's been a crazy night. I knew it would be, but we're going to get to it. All kinds of interesting activities, nominations, etc. We're going to cover it all. So first of all, guys, for those of you who may not be aware of what happened earlier in the evening, they had the safety competition. This is week 2 of the safety competition, and turns out Bailey, Cody, David, Davon, Ian, and Kevin all competed in the event. We didn't see it on the feeds, but it appears it's something along a balancing competition with tables and weighted glasses and getting everything balanced out. It appears that Christmas dominated the competition. Minute and a half or so, she won the competition. So Christmas is safe. Now she has to pick her +1 to also give safety to. And her choice is Ian. Yes, indeed. Christmas takes Ian off the potential nomination block. He is safe as well. He's going to get a costume tomorrow, I believe. But Christmas and Ian are now safe. Kind of disrupts Memphis's plans, who supposedly was targeting Ian to put him on the block and potentially send him home. And so Christmas and Memphis have a discussion a little bit later. Memphis tells Christmas he's not really upset that Ian got picked. She says she did it to buy some safety going forward. He was an independent, that he ought to help them as a result. Memphis says he's not upset with that. He's a little upset that now Ian has avoided getting blood on his hands twice because when it came time to pick the have-nots, Ian didn't have to pick anyone because Nicole Francel volunteered to become a have-not. So he was okay with that. And now Ian is protected from going on the block. So Memphis feels like he's getting kind of a free pass from a few people, which irritated a little bit. But Christmas wins, takes Ian off the block. So we then get into the nomination ceremony to see who's going on the block this week. And 2 people going on the block this week, David and Nicole Anthony. Tough week. Tough week for old Boss Hogg. But David and Nicole are on the block. Afterwards, it seems like it was a pretty brutal nomination ceremony. Multiple house guests are talking about Memphis and how rude he was in his speeches. Apparently, he told David, and this is not on the feed, so I'm going off what the house guest said, but apparently he told David that he is now at the grown-ups table playing with the big boys and something along those lines. He also told Nicole that he had told her to use her safety pass, and she didn't. She chose not to compete this week. That's what he's saying. She later told quite a few people that she had been told by Janelle that Memphis was part of an alliance that they were putting together and that she was safe. And that she told Memphis that she was not using her safety comp as a sign of trust to Memphis, that he would protect her. In exchange, she would be able to compete the last week. If she won the safety comp, she would make sure that he was a +1 and to save him. So she's saying it was a matter of trust. Memphis is saying that, I told you to do it, you didn't use it, therefore you're kind of paying the price for it. There's also the part here that Memphis doesn't want someone that's not part of his core alliance that has a safety pass next week that could potentially win and not protect all of his people. And Nicole Anthony was the only person not within that alliance that still was going to have a safety pass. So anyway, David and Nicole Anthony are on the block. They both have some tears afterwards, quite upset, have some powwows with each other, block buddies and all of that. But a tough evening for both of them, and it doesn't get any better. Oh, I'm hurting for my 2 friends. I see them both in tears. It's just tough. So here's where we start getting some deviation from one side to the other. Janelle, Hazar are talking to Memphis in the HOH room, telling him that Nicole Anthony could be a great double agent and that there's a group of 4, Tyler, Cody, Nicole Francel, and Danny, that are all working together. They say, Memphis, man, if you save Nicole Anthony, she would be a great double agent to help get in with that group. They don't realize that Memphis is part of that group of alliance along with Christmas. So it's not working well for them. A little bit of lack of information is hurting, but they're up there trying to do what they can to save Nicole Anthony, pull her off the block, get her saved. Well, meanwhile, Kevin is downstairs telling Nicole Anthony that she's nothing but a pawn. And Janelle then tells Nicole Anthony she isn't the target, and that if one of them comes off the block, Nicole Franzel is going up instead. They think they've got Memphis still working with them. Memphis is kind of maybe acting that way, but I don't think it's the case. It's not the case. So they're telling Nicole Anthony she's safe and all of that, but it's not necessarily true. The other thing and this is where things start really falling apart, I believe. Kevin told Danny that Janelle, Hazer, and Memphis were talking and acting very cocky. He got upset because he got up to the HOH room, rang the doorbell, and they ignored him. They wouldn't let him in. That kind of set Kevin off. He now believes that Kaiser and Janelle are working with the other side, including Memphis. He thinks this has all been a big scam going on, and that they're all in this gigantic alliance. And that he starts telling Nicole that same thing, and starts convincing her that Janelle and Kaiser have betrayed them, when in reality they're upstairs actually trying to save Nicole. So a little misinformation here. I don't think it's intentional. I think Kevin just misinterpreted some signs and made some bad assumptions. So meanwhile, Nicole Anthony's talking to Davon, saying that she didn't play the safety comp because Janelle had said, as I said, that they were in this group, including Memphis, also including Bailey and Davon. Well, Davon tells Nicole Anthony, says, Janelle never propositioned me, never came to me talking about joining kind of an alliance. At that point, Nicole has heard from Kevin that maybe something's going on. She now is hearing Davon saying, nah, Janelle never approached me. So at that point, Nicole Anthony really buys into this idea that Janelle screwed her over for information, and that she never really had Nicole's back in the first place, and she's gotten betrayed by who she thought was her tight side. It's all going downhill, guys. Davon was questioning those who didn't play in the safety competition, wondering if they're part of an alliance. Why did they feel safe not to play in the safety competition? So we'll see what she figures out going forward. Davon thinks that David might be the actual target rather than Nicole Anthony, and Nicole doesn't like that. She's upset. She's now thinking that maybe because she fell for Janelle and Kaiser's con job, which is what she thinks it is, that because of that, David might actually go home as a result. And Nicole, a sweet soul, she doesn't want David to go home any more than she wants to go home. So again, Nicole Anthony now believes that Tyler and Cody and Danny and Nicole Franzel are working with Memphis, Janelle, and Kaiser. It's not the case, but that's what she thinks, that they're all one gigantic alliance. All right, so what else is going on? Kevin was later pumping up Nicole Anthony to not trust Janelle. Don't trust Kaiser. Really dragging Janelle. Just treating her, calling her out quite a bit and really dragging her. And so it's just, he's prodding Nicole Anthony on to really feel like she kind of got cheated or conned. Meanwhile, Janelle is telling Memphis to scoop up Nicole Anthony because she's super loyal. Again, she's still trying to save Nicole, not realizing what's going on downstairs. Danny's telling Cody that Nicole Anthony said that Janelle and Kaiser have Memphis and are going against Danny and Cody, Tyler, and Nicole Franzel. She also told Cody that Nicole Anthony now feels completely betrayed by Janelle. And Cody is telling Memphis that if one of their side gets the veto, they have to send Kaiser or Jan home before one of those two win HOH next week. He's advocating if any of them win the veto, pull David, pull Nicole Anthony off, pull someone off and put up Kaiser or Janelle, because he's really worried they're going to be coming after this other side now that they kind of are getting thrown under the bus and things aren't looking good for them. Meanwhile, Tyler's telling David that Janelle and Memphis are tight and that Nicole Anthony is on the block because of Janelle. It's confusing, guys. I know. At the same time, Nicole Franzel's telling, I know it's a little different. Nicole Franzel is telling Ian that she is the one that told Christmas to save him, because obviously Nicole Franzel and Ian have their little millionaire club. She thinks that Christmas now thinks that Ian will be super loyal, so they feel like they've bought some loyalty from Ian by doing this save. She is worried about her game because Janelle's telling everyone that Ian and Nicole Franzel are a pair, so she's worried that may make them a high-profile target next week. Also, Cody is telling Tyler, again, that Nicole Anthony feels betrayed by Jan, and Tyler's suggesting that that Memphis might replace with Kevin. If someone wins a veto, pull him off. He might put Kevin in instead. Cody says, yeah, who would do that? That's a complete waste. Don't take time messing with Kevin. That doesn't do anything for us. We've got to get Kaiser and Janelle out. Everyone's worried about those two. They're still targeting Kaiser and Janelle. So he's advocating for that. So it'll be curious to see who wins that veto tomorrow and what actually happens with it. The ceremony won't be till Monday. Competition is tomorrow. Tyler, though, is saying that if you send out Janelle or Kaiser, the other goes after, and I think you're saying goes after Memphis the following week. If Memphis thinks that, it may give him pause about going after a big target. Is Memphis willing to take the risk, or is he happy enough just to go after some folks that maybe aren't quite as powerful in his opinion when it comes to comps and such? All right, so we've got that. Finally, let's talk about this. Nicole Anthony talking to Cody and Enzo, explaining how she got betrayed. Now that she thinks she's been betrayed by Janelle and Kaiser, she's spilling the beans on everything. She's saying that she was told that she was in a 4-person alliance with Janelle, Kaiser, and Memphis, and Bailey and Davon supposedly were thrown in there as well. But that a group of 4. Cody and Enzo are encouraging to win the veto, saying, "Man, win that veto. Take out Janelle and Kaiser. We got you. We understand. You got betrayed. We sympathize with you. Fight and win that veto, and don't let them send you out the house." So they're just encouraging Nicole Anthony the entire time. But here's the thing. As soon as Nicole Anthony leaves, Cody says he's ready to boot Nicole. He says she just got through telling us she's part of this final or this 4 alliance over on the other side that was coming after us. Why should we possibly keep her? David is much tighter with us than Nicole is. So even though I like Nicole Anthony, she's got to go. And he's ready to boot her. Enzo, though, is really making the argument to Cody, saying, well, let's think about that a little bit more. He said, Nicole is loyal. She's smart. And David doesn't really know the game. David is lost right now. He's still a rookie, still a newbie. Nicole is now furious at Janelle and Kaiser. So we actually could use her. And she may do a lot more than David will when it comes to working with our side. And Cody's kind of listening and saying, that may be the case. I'm not sure that Cody's completely convinced. I think he still would prefer to keep David, but Enzo seems like he's leaning the other way. We'll see what happens if they end up having to choose between one or the other. It's an interesting situation. And I'll just wrap this up. I know it's confusing, guys. It's truly a matter of misinformation. My own personal opinion is that no one is intentionally, there's lots of intentional stuff going on, but I don't think Janelle and Kaiser were intentionally trying to throw Nicole or Kevin, Nicole Anthony or Kevin or anyone else under the bus. They were trying to get Memphis. They thought they had Memphis and Bailey and Davon, and it's just that Memphis isn't as loyal to them as they thought they were. And so because of that, because Kevin sees some things that makes him think they're working tighter together, he makes some assumptions. Nicole feeds off of that. So it has Bailey or Davon saying things that makes her feed off of it. So they aren't trying to intentionally throw Janelle and Kaiser under the bus, but they think that they've been betrayed. So then they're ready to flip on them. It's just a lot of confusion, and it's unfortunate because as a result, you've got some of these bigger alliances that Cody and Tyler and all that group of 6. They're going to probably stay pretty tight, and everyone else is just falling apart because they're making all kinds of accusations against each other. It reminds me a little bit of last season. Nicole created the big mess. Everyone's arguing with each other because Nicole said what actually had gone on. But all of a sudden, they were ready to boot her out of there when suddenly the big part of the alliance realized that, hey, if we keep Nicole, she's going to go after Nick and Bella and do our dirty work for us. So suddenly, even though they were all mad at Nicole Anthony, they kept her, sent me out. They kept Nicole Anthony thinking that she would do the dirty work against a couple of people in their alliance. I almost feel like it's the same way here. As wrong as Nicole is about some of the assumptions, because she is feeling so betrayed by Kaiser and Janelle, the other side, that may actually be her salvation. The other side may actually be saying she is so upset, even though she was against us, now she wants to go after those people. Let's save her and let her do the dirty work. But we may have the same situation as last time. All right, guys, I'm going to get out here. SKD 143. Cheers, guys. Bye.